Joining us for Info Live TV, I'm Adam Ross in Jerusalem. This is Yoni Ben Menahem, the Director General and Editor-in-Chief of Kol Israel. Thanks for joining us, Yoni.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to ask you some questions today about Ehud Olmert, the Israeli Prime Minister, about to meet Hosni Mubarak in Egypt, in Sharm el-Sheikh. What can we expect from this meeting and what's the significance?
It's the first meeting of Olmert as Prime Minister with Mubarak, the President of Egypt. Egypt has a peace agreement with Israel, so it's very important to warm up the relationship. And of course, they are going to discuss the expected meeting between Olmert and Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, and also the situation in the West Bank in Gaza after the Hamas government took over.
And this expected meeting with Abu Mazen, should we expect anything significant to come out of that, or just pure talk?
We don't know yet. Before we will meet with Abu Mazen, Olmert is supposed to go for a European tour in Britain and France, and then is expected to meet Abu Mazen. I think it will not be negotiations, it will be mostly talking about the daily life of the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza, and also the economic situation of the Palestinians that has been worsened as a result of Hamas coming to power.
So watch this, the Prime Minister of Israel gives some credence to Abu Mazen, and then he's allowed to go forward with his own agenda? Is this the idea?
The idea is to come to a situation when Olmert eventually will negotiate with Abu Mazen, try to convince him to accept the idea of the realignment in the West Bank, and maybe even start negotiating with him about other things. We don't know yet, but it all depends on the Palestinians, because if there will not be a partner that can deliver from the Palestinian side, there is a question of what is the point of negotiating with somebody who cannot deliver. And you have to remember that still the official rule in the Palestinian Authority is Hamas, who calls to destruction of Israel. So it's a problem to negotiate with the other side. So it's not yet negotiations, it will be mostly talking about the daily life of Palestinians.
Now, on the back of what many people have described as a very successful trip to the United States, and forthcoming visits to France and to Britain, how much has Ehud Olmert convinced these world leaders of Abu Mazen's maybe inability to come through on the things that they think he should be able to do?
I don't know if he managed to convince them. What he wanted to do is to persuade the Americans, President Bush, that it's essential to go on with the realignment plan. The Americans do not believe in unilateral steps, so they convinced Olmert to start and to try negotiating with Abu Mazen, hoping that by the end of negotiations or through the negotiations with Abu Mazen, the Hamas government will collapse and Abu Mazen will be the partner. It's a wishful thinking, but I don't think that the Prime Minister Olmert could have gotten more from the Americans. I think he got the most he could get during his visit.
Okay, now back in Israel, what did Israelis make of this trip?
The Israelis consider it a success, definitely, because Olmert was received with a warm welcoming by the president. He delivered a speech in the Congress. He was greeted, he was praised in the American press. So as far as Israel is concerned, it's good PR for Israel. He couldn't have gotten more as far as the Israelis are concerned. But the question is what will be in the future. This is the big question. Not a day or 2 days visit to the United States will determine the success of the Prime Minister. We have to see his policy, we have to see the way he's handling the Palestinians, we have to see how he handles situations of crisis. This is the real test for a Prime Minister.
Is there anything significant in that Ariel Sharon was a man who wanted to give up land when the rest of the world was very happy about that, and now we have a Prime Minister also wanting to give up land and the rest of the world is seemingly hesitant?
It's a completely different story. The West Bank is not Gaza. It's a completely different story, and you have to understand that we have a neighbor in the east side of the border, which is called Jordan, and Jordanians are very worried that it will shake the stability of their kingdom, because if the Hamas will take over these territories that will be evacuated, it can be also a danger for Jordan. And you have to remember that Jordanian just arrested a few weeks ago an armed group of Hamas who was sent from Syria to carry out terror attacks in Jordan. So the Jordanians are very worried. They conveyed their worries to the Americans. And Jordan has a peace treaty with Israel, so they are very worried of what's going to happen in the West Bank. This is why it's a different situation.
Now, one final question. Do you think Ehud Olmert will play things any differently with Hosni Mubarak or with Prime Minister Blair or Jacques Chirac?
No, I think Prime Minister Olmert knows very well, and he's proven it, that it's all personal, and that the personal chemistry, what we say in Hebrew, is very important between the leaders to get along with each other personally, on a personal level. He have managed to do it with President Bush, and I'm sure that he will try to do the same in his visits to Egypt and Jordan and also in Europe.
So who will he get on best with out of his next three
I think he will
meetings?
get way well with all of them, because he's very good in personal relationship. He knows how to manage it very well, and I think he will succeed.
Okay, well that's Ehud Olmert, the professional politician, and Yoni Ben Menahem, the Director General, Chief Editor of Kol Israel. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We're in Jerusalem for Info Live TV.